bright lights, big city. You know, Des Moines wasn't always a big city. It's a big city because of generations of families that have given back. People who have stepped up to the plate when there was a need. Let me tell you about one of those families. You see, John Ruan. No, not that John Ruan. Dr. John A. Ruan. Dr. Ruan was a successful physician who lived in Beacon, Iowa with his wife Rachel. On February 11, 1914, they had a son and named him John Ruan. Yep, that John Ruan. Life was good in Mahaska County in southern Iowa. Johnny was just like his father in that he was always making a buck and motivated by it. Dr. Ruan was also a risk taker, which is why in 1929, when the stock market crashed, he lost most of his wealth. He eventually paid off his debt, but was never comfortable with his misfortune and began suffering from health issues. He then decided the following year that he should move his family to Des Moines for new opportunities and a fresh start. But within 3 months after the move, Dr. Ruan died in 1931. Johnny was a senior at North High School and was quickly thrust into adulthood. That fall, John enrolled at Iowa State College as a forestry student, but after his first year, there was no money left for tuition. It was the Depression, and he was forced to leave school and go to work. At the advice of a fraternity brother, Ruan then traded one of the family cars for a dump truck in the summer of 1932, and at the age of 18, he began hauling gravel for a local road builder. He lived in a tent at night and drove during the day. A year later, he owned 3 trucks and was hauling coal. By the mid-1930s, he began moving freight and then later petroleum, and soon had the largest trucking operation in central Iowa. After World War II, his trucking operation grew rapidly, becoming the nation's largest hauler of petroleum products by the end of the 1950s. As success in more trucking services continued, John moved beyond transportation in 1964 with the purchase of a majority interest in Bankers Trust Company. He eventually bought all the remaining stock and began branching into other areas, including real estate, property management, the import-export business, and a securities firm. He became one of the hardest working, wealthiest, and most powerful people in the state. In the 1970s, the John Ruan MS Charity was founded, and it marked the beginning of the Ruan corporate citizenship. The Ruan family then changed the face of the city. While other companies were fleeing for the suburbs, they built Iowa's tallest office building at the time, the 36-story Ruan Center in the downtown core. They later added the Marriott Hotel and 2 Ruan Center to the skyline and helped develop the downtown skywalks, parking ramps, and the Des Moines Convention Center. These were all high-risk ventures for a city in decline. But John believed in the community, and his family was here. In 1990, John Ruan established the World Food Prize Foundation and endowed it with $1.5 million. It became one of his passions, and he worked to raise its profile both in Des Moines and around the globe. Then in 1997, Ruan contributed $10 million to permanently endow the prize and to ensure its continued presence here. John Ruan died in 2010 at the age of 96. John was a trucker, a banker, and a real estate mogul, but his most lasting legacy will be as a humanitarian. Most notable were his desire to end world hunger and his fight against multiple sclerosis, which struck his wife and later claimed the life of his daughter. Today, there's another successful and hardworking John Ruan. John III is chairman of Ruan Transportation Management Systems and the BTC Financial Corporation, as well as numerous other Ruan organizations. This year, he'll also be chairman of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And just like his father and grandfather, he understands the importance of giving back to the community where his family lives. John III has succeeded his father as chairman of the World Food Prize and is spearheading the new Norman E. Borlaug Hall of Laureates. The family pledged $5 million of the $30 million capital project to restore the old public library building. This preserved treasure will serve as the centerpiece of the principal Riverwalk. John III also influenced his father to take assets unrelated to the companies and move them into the John Ruan Foundation Trust in order to continue the Ruan legacy in the community. And more contributions to this trust will be made in the future. This unselfish and generous act will continue the commitment of the first generations of Ruans, and now the third, fourth, and fifth generations' dedication to Des Moines. Yes, that's right. There are more John Ruans, and Fletchers and McLeans too. The John Ruan Foundation Trust continues to fund the cultural and civic community, bringing beauty and life to our corridors. Arts and culture are important to the family, and they all give of their time and talents. They lead by example and encourage Ruan employees to give back each year too through community service to Bravo organizations. We are the beneficiaries of a multi-generation's immense will to make things happen and to make things better in our city. It all started with a truck in 1932 by a driven young man that transported his family into success in business, humanity, and community. And they continue to help lead Des Moines into a bright future. Des Moines is honored to have the John Ruan family call us home, and we are proud to honor them with the Bravo Greater Des Moines Award.